Alright, hope everybody's doing well. Had kind of a long Saturday. I decided to hit the Goodwill bins early today because I had a swap meet event to go to, and I thought it opened at 10:30, but people were already there before 10, or I don't know. It was just crazy. And so I missed out on who knows what. I don't know. I didn't see anything worth buying, but I was there to set up partially with my friend his booth and squeezed a few boxes of records on there, and I instantly sold a record for $5, and that's all I sold. I think my friend made probably about $5, $10, I don't really know. It was not really worth it, but that's a setup day technically. I don't know why you would want to do that, because Sunday should be the setup day and all that good stuff. But anyway, went there, and so you get the first crack at all the vendors that just bring the stuff out. There was a Coca-Cola clock that was quite interesting, but it was $150 and sold right away to somebody. Right away. So unfortunately that was gone, and $150 that I didn't have. I took probably close to $50 is my guess, something like that. It was $5 for me to get in. I don't want to mess with the authorities, so I decided to pay to get in. So 9 o'clock, I think, something of that time frame is like $1 to get in tomorrow, so it'll only be $6 in, and I found a nickel on the ground, so that helps a little bit. But on the bins, I went there early, and on the way back got some. I spent something like ridiculous, like 40-odd cents. It was like an empty record cover and one other little piece of paper I don't even have to share with you. And then on my way back, I got a couple of things here. But before I do that, I want to show you the autographs that came in, and one of them has already been put in the binder here page. Unfortunately, I didn't save the envelope. I repurposed that envelope because I wrote some notes on the back of it and I can't find it. But I got Tom Kreitz. So that was a 1 of 1. It was a very quick return, and it's one of the ones that I sent out from that set recently, a 1990 Kingpins bowling card here. And then I have one more that came in just today from Orlando, Florida. There are the stamps there. And this one came with a note. No extra bonus points for that. To Henry, Bob Handley, and this is in ballpoint pen. It's very, very hard to see there, but it is there. You can see the indentation on the paper there. And he says, Bob Handley says, Henry, I bowled on TV over 30 times. It was always a thrill to make the top 5. My favorite bowling center was Mission Bowl in Mission, Kansas. That is the bowling center I grew up in. Take care, Bob Handley. So a note with an autograph on that as well. So that's really the only mail that's come in. I've got a video in the works maybe of some bicycles, but I don't know how to explain bicycles in more than, a minute or two. So that will be coming up hopefully. And the reasoning why I bought 2 bicycles for $100. It seems like a lot, but that's what I did. And then, so some of the bins here, again, I don't have the earlier bin stuff here. It was just absolutely ridiculously crowded, not a parking spot to be had except for 1 or 2, and I spent a whopping $1.05. I got a free box, and I always take boxes for free because that saves me a couple, $2, $3. There's a great one for packing stuff there, and so there was that one. They almost charged me for it, and I was like, no, please don't. I found these, looks like Holiday Inn key cards from my hotel key card collection here. Ask us about our kid suites, 1-800-HOLIDAY. So I'm guessing that's Holiday Inn. And I got 2 of those. So there's that. Somebody had pulled them out and laid them off to the side somewhere because they probably thought they were some kind of, gift card or something. I have no idea. Something that they could theoretically use. But again, the merchandise is just absolutely it's like digging through like a garage sale with the leftovers in the free box. Terrible. Swap meet was not any better. I bought 1 main item, and I bought 3 DVDs, which I shouldn't have bought, but this, anyway, is really beat up, and the paint is flaking on it here. But this was a whopping $5, this New York license plate. Now you're wondering, don't you already have all 50 states? Yes, I do have all 50 states. This is probably an older one, out of the 70s would be my guess. There is no markings here, none whatsoever. It's kind of more of a galvanized metal there on a heavy gauge, steel or whatever. So I figured might as well, and I was helping out somebody. Too bad there's unfortunately a big melt spot right there. I don't know how it got hot there, but something got hot there. Never know if it was stored in an attic or it got hot from an exhaust. I have no clue what that happened there. But again, a vintage, and I would have loved to have the the tags here, but a lot of times this may never been, probably was used, but it may never had tags on it. I don't really know the whole deal on that. So I'll have to do some research on there. Everything was eBay price. I mean, practically everything. There was a really cool machete there, some sort of zombie machete, and it was marked $10, and then I was leaving around 2 o'clock plus or whatever, and it was up to $20. So somebody changed the price on that. I don't know, they sold it to one person and put another, it was $20 now. And then there was like some silly little doll, kind of like a bendy doll, probably from the 70s. I remember that I think my sister had one of those, and I picked it up at some sort of discount store for like 50 cents or a quarter. It wasn't much. Maybe at the most it was $1, but and this one was all dirty and beat up, and it was on some gross stand, and I figured that would be like a free box item type of thing, but the guy had $50 on it, and everything in his booth was 50% off. So basically, with that particular booth in that particular section, if you went to eBay, you would be paying only half of it. Everybody decided to take eBay price and double it. And I mean, I was like, what is the point? You know, this is just all garbage, leftover garbage that no one wanted. You know, I didn't see too many people buying stuff. One guy had DVDs that were $1 a DVD, and if you bought 10 of them, you got 20 DVDs, so 50 cents a DVD. I only bought 3. There was a lot of Japanese, Asian, or not Japanese, but just a lot of Asian movies, you know, Korean or whatever, so that was fun. But I'll show you what I got from the bins elsewise. And the books have just been absolutely just cherry-picked. The records are cherry-picked. Everything at the bins is cherry-picked, but there's not any other, you know, thrift stores. And they decided to raise their price on the heavier items for some reason. So there's no discounts, no deals, because Goodwill is finding every little opportunity to not lose money. So they're going to get stuck with a lot of stuff, recycle, or have a big garbage bill. But I got to choose your own adventure. I don't think this is worth much because it's all beat up here. Goodwill Books tried to sell this for either $1 or $1.99. That's going to be a pain to get that sticker off there. But nobody buys kids' books for $2. You just basically, you know, one thing I say about Goodwill is I know they help, you know, give people that have difficulties finding jobs, but many of these people would have jobs elsewhere with about the same pay anyway. So, you know, no harm, no foul in some instances. But I want to say that, you know, they make it really difficult for people to want to read, you know. Those few people that still read. This is a Choose Your Own Adventure, Danger in the Desert. I just thought it was a cool cover there. I don't have that one. I really don't know how many Choose Your Own Adventures there are, but there's that one. 49 cents for that one, so you can't really beat the price on that. Then I found some postcards here. This one unfortunately got damaged from the bins, so it's all smashed to heck. There's creases and rips and who knows, almost pokes in there, but a Disneyland postcard from the 80s or 90s, and there's some crud on the back of it there, so that was probably not even worth grabbing, but I'll write a note on it. And then I got Sea Lion Caves postcard, so that's an Oregon one there. That was grabbed by somebody, I'm sure of it, and was thrown off to the side, and they decided they didn't want it. There's another Sea Lion Caves one here. And then this is just weird. This is some sort of cakes men like, and top 14 favorite cakes for men, plus sure to please frostings, tempting fillings, tips for baking success, and high altitude baking. And then it was put out by the Pacific Telephone Employees Booklet Rack Service. Very weird. Cakes men like. I don't know why they're just cakes for men. That's strange. You know, I really have no idea. There's pineapple upside down cake. I remember those. Those were okay. And it's got some damaging, you know, in there too. So I value this at maybe like 50 cents because there's like some damage here. It's just kind of unusual. And it doesn't take up a lot of room. So that's just really pretty ridiculous, you know, the bins. And like I said, the swap meet here, everybody touts the swap meet. And then you go there and I spent, like I said, a total of $8. And there was just a few dollar items, and they were just, I don't know. The whole thing of people have lots of pocket knives and kind of the iffy Chinese pocket knives, and, you know, they're a couple bucks, and they're just, no. I can't remember else what was there. Again, there was a lady that has license plates. Nobody was looking at them. $5 is pretty good because everybody else was asking $20. There was some sort of, I can't remember, there was a Washington State license plate that I valued at like $2, and somebody had like 18 on it or something ridiculous. I don't envy that person trying to sell that. If he gets stuck with that at the end of his life, well, he can be buried with it. I think everybody was married to all their garbage that they had. There was only a couple vendors that didn't have anything, and day 2, I'm supposed to go back because I left all my records at my friend's booth there. So I'm hoping that, I put in some good stuff. I had the Cher's Greatest Hits, which I don't need an extra copy of that one. I know I've got all the songs on YouTube, whatever, but or not really, but things like that would be easily a $2 item, okay? But nobody looked at it, nobody cared. I mean, people were they were buying CDs and records. They flipped all through these records and CDs, and half of my CDs were brand new factory sealed. I had a whole selection of Earth, Wind, and Fire, all brand new factory sealed. And you can't even buy these things at the Goodwill stores, but yet everybody runs to the Goodwill to see what kind of CDs come out. And they will be happy to pay double that at Goodwill, but they wouldn't pay me $2 for my CDs. So I didn't sell one CD. I think I ended up giving my friend and his other friend a bunch of vinyl records. I said, just take them. I'm not going to charge my friends for stuff. That's ridiculous unless, they really insist, mountains of times over. So I got rid of like 6 45s and something like 3 or 4, so I have less stuff, and that's the whole goal, is to keep less stuff. So that's pretty much how the swap meet goes. I didn't expect the swap meet to be this dreadful. I don't know what is going on. People just don't have enough stuff to sell. So they're bringing the leftovers, the leftovers, the leftovers, the leftovers. It's just, And then I went to the postcard vendor. He didn't have a lot, but he had a bunch of French postcards. I can go to that French seller, that I bought from once or twice and, risk getting the postcards. But he's only like $1 plus nitpicky shipping or something like that. So, why do I want to pay 2? Again, it doesn't make sense. And these postcards were just absolutely worthless. They had no value. French postcards from the early 20th century, a lot of people say those are the kinds of things that are just really difficult to sell. And then he had some other postcards just like these here. Stuff like this that I value at 50 cents retail, and maybe at $1, and he had a bunch of this type of stuff for $1, like it was a good deal. And I know postcard vendors like Popeye's Postcards and a few other SM Postcards, and another one I just started watching. They really want to be in the 5 and 10 cent price range, maybe even less than that for the postcards that were at this particular event. When I took my postcards to the event, people went gaga over my postcards and bought quite a few of them. But see, that was the difference between my postcards and their postcards. My postcards were the same quality or better for only 25 cents each. I had lots of antique ones in there for $0.25, because that's either what I had in it or I didn't really care. So, I mean, again, you got to know your customer. You don't put $2 and $3 and $4 and $5. Again, that was so weird. That machete, and my friend's son and I were interested in this really awesome zombie machete. We probably should have gotten it for $10, and it came with the sheath. But we waited too late, and it was $20. Ridiculous times, absolutely most ridiculous times. These people are, most of the vendors at this particular swap meet are 20 years older than I am. 15, 20 years older than I am. And so they're just, this is the kind of like crowd that used to like sell the old Marlboro stuff, and the cool cigarettes, 10 signs and stuff, and they had been dragged them to every swap meets at the beginning of time. All the cigarette advertisement that they saved back in the 80s and 90s when that was coming less and less. And it was all beat up and yellowed and gross, and they wanted, like a lot of money for that stuff. You would go in there and there'd be a Raleigh Lights belt buckle, and that would be like $5 to $10 in their glass case. Somebody had some, I can't remember, it was junk wax baseball cards in a glass case, and there was some other junk wax in some sort of homemade box or whatever, wooden box or whatever, and the box was probably the only thing that was worth anything. I don't know, I didn't want to pay $15 for that. It wasn't, I mean, theoretically I could go to the LCS and get, 3 or 4 times the amount of cards, or, just go to eBay and buy a lot of cards, something like it. It was not good. I'm trying to think of what else. There was in 3 different buildings. But again, I mean, this is the only thing I really purchased because, again, eBay would want probably $15 to $20 for this. We can just go to eBay very quickly with a little bit of time on the camera here. So we're just going to eBay, and I think I have a license plate category here. So we want to go to, well, anyway, New York. Let's just go look up. Oh, we're on eBay here. Looking up scalp patches here, but why don't we just do this? Go here. I'm looking at clothes here for whatever reason. Rainy day today, but let's see, New York. New York license plates. We go to this one here. We'll just see what we have here. And again, that was $5, and I was basically helping out a friend with another person that. So we've got this one here is $7 to $10 plus $5.95 for shipping. We've got 54 and 56, $9.50 plus, so that's $20. So again, the older license plates, this would have been $25 at the show. I can almost assure you that this 54 license plate from New York, this would have been $20 and this would have been $20, so that would have been $40. And again, it's $9.50, ends in 53 minutes, and no bids. So $10 is a pretty good price for that one. Well, actually, I don't know, 10. Okay, I got just outbid on something. I put $25 on something, and I've been outbid already. So another night item is just not going well. But again, New York license plates. I'm trying to figure out when this one is the orange one here. Let's see if we can find any orange license plates. It's interesting. This doesn't say anything because some of them say like Empire State and official, and again, this one just says New York with nothing else on it. So that one says trailer. Dealer, there's a New York with a handicap, so something like this here. So again, I paid $5 for this one here. This is a pair and vintage. Again, this does not have the tags, and here's another one here. This one's a mint one, more or less relatively mint. This is RZL and this is ANZ. This is 477. And again, so I mean, I did okay. I basically paid full price for that, but you're not going to get a license plate any cheaper. And so I figured, do something nice for somebody. But the other license plates were more or less the same price, and a little bit more, and I just don't see the value there. And I'm not paying any more than $10 for a Washington license plate. You can just write, at one time you could write to the Washington DMV or whatever and get a sample license plate, and they'll just send you a used one for free. And then they said, but do you have Washington D.C.? They tried to trick me thinking I did, Washington D.C. And yes, I have Washington D.C. I got a sample one for free. So do I have an official Washington D.C. one? Not yet, and that's one to look for. But I was just joking. I said this was John Lennon's license plate that I came off of his car, before he was tragically killed in that shooting or whatever. But it's not. Anyway, my battery is done. I'm done. I just did a great depressing day out there with not much to show for it. Thank you for watching.